Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Your Mic is Hot. This is the podcast where we talk about how to speak up, stand out, and build a business that actually fits with your life. I'm Julie, and today's episode, well, it's an important one because it's really the core of everything that we've been talking about for the last few weeks. It's the why behind what you're doing. Today's episode is called Your Mic, Your Message, Creating a Mission-Driven Business. Of all the strategies, of all the tools, the marketing funnels, the fancy systems that we put into place, none of it matters if you don't know what your core message is. So my question to you is, what do you stand for? What do you want people to remember about your brand? Your message is like your North Star. It's your compass, guiding everything you create, how you serve your audience, and the impact you leave on the world. So why does your message matter? Well, your audience isn't going to remember every single product that you launch or every social media post you make or even every podcast episode you put out, but they will remember how you made them feel. And I know you've heard that before. There's people in your life, you remember how they make you feel. And that can be magnetic. So even while your audience may not remember every post or every tip or every bit of advice or every product, they will remember how you made them feel. That feeling is tied directly to your message. Think about the brands that you love and, a couple of big company examples like Patagonia, and they focus on, protecting the planet. And you may always think of that when you see that brand. Or Nike, another huge one, their message is really of empowerment, just do it. Their products are great, but it's that message that really sticks. Everybody remembers just do it. And it's how it makes you feel. Now, those are examples of really big companies, but it is almost more important for your small company to have its own core message. It's the thing that makes people feel loyal to you. Your business doesn't have to be a giant corporation to have a big message. In fact, smaller businesses with a clear mission often connect with their audience on a much deeper level because it feels more personal and authentic. So, how do you figure out what your message even is? Here's a few questions to get you started thinking about it. The first question is this: what do you truly believe about your industry? At this point, I'm assuming you are an expert in your industry. You've been in it a while. You know things. What do you truly believe about your industry? There's going to be behind the scenes topics that you are aware of. There's going to be shifts. There's going to be things that are important and aren't important and things that the public believes that aren't necessarily true. What do you truly believe about your industry? Next question, what drives you crazy about your industry? Next question, what do you love about your industry? And what do you wish more people understood? So this is you being the expert in your industry and defining what your thoughts are about it. Who are you and how are you going to portray your expertise? And then the final question is, what do you want your audience to believe about themselves? A big part of this is understanding your impact on your audience and how you make them feel. So you need to impart your thoughts about your industry, how you care about it, and then also decide how your audience should feel about these messages. So, for example, maybe your message is you're in marketing and your message is you don't need to be everywhere to succeed, or your story matters more than your resume. These are thoughts that you can share that help define what you think about the industry or about a particular topic. And it helps tell your audience how they can feel. What kind of change are you trying to create in the world? It doesn't have to be a monumental change like world peace. It could be something simple like helping freelancers feel more confident about money or helping podcasters find their authentic voice. So when I talk about being mission-driven, I'm not saying you need to be saving the whales or doing something huge on a grand scale. But based in your industry, what are your thoughts? What is your mission? What message are you trying to get out? And how will that affect your audience? Your core message should be simple, it should be clear, and easy to repeat. These are the same things I always say when you're picking a name for something, a title for something. Simple, clear, easy to spell, easy to repeat. This is not a time to get tricky with weird spellings and weird phrases. This needs to be something that people can easily remember and say over and over again. It should be something people can sum up in one sentence and immediately associate it with you. So now let's talk about how your message guides your business. This is getting practical, okay? Once you know your message, it can guide everything you do. For example, your content. Every blog post, every video, every piece of audio, every podcast episode that you create should tie back to your message. It becomes the thread that connects all of your other stories. Your offers, the things that you're selling to people. When you design products or services, you should make sure they align with your message. If your message is about simplicity, then your offers should be streamlined and easy. If it's about empowering people, then your offers should help them feel capable and strong. And then finally, decisions. When new opportunity comes your way, ask yourself, does this align with my message? And if it doesn't, it's an easy no. Opportunities are going to come your way. You're going to have forks in the road. You're going to have decisions to make. And there's often a lot of pros and a lot of cons to weigh in these decisions. But always go back to your core message. Who are you, and what are you trying to share with your audience? Your message is your compass. It keeps you consistent, clear, magnetic, and moving forward in one line. One of the best ways to share your message is through stories, and we've talked about this many times before. People don't connect with bullet points, they connect with experiences. They want to hear your story. So think about telling stories of why you started your business in the first place. I've done this many times. It was that story of the young mother who needed to work from home. I needed income, but I also needed to manage my household. I had a struggle and I had to find a solution. So why did you start your business in the first place? And then the turning point, a turning point in your journey. Turning point for me was when everybody else wanted to learn how to become a voice artist. My turning point was when I decided to create my online course so that I could help others do the same thing. So what's your turning point in your own journey? And then finally, what is a client's transformation that reflects your mission? This is testimonials and reviews. These stories make your message real. They make it stick. They show that what you're offering works. They show your audience that your message isn't just a bunch of words, but it's something that you live and breathe by and that you can prove is transformational. So now let's talk about balancing your mission and your marketing, because mission feels very altruistic. It feels very internal. Marketing can sometimes feel very salesy. And these two things don't have to be separate. There is a balance. Sometimes when we hear mission-driven, we think that means we have to ignore money, because typically something mission-driven is intrinsic. It's something we're doing for the betterment of the world and we aren't receiving anything in return. But that's not necessarily how it works. A mission-driven business still has to make a profit. Your message should guide your marketing. It helps you sell in a way that feels authentic. When your offers come directly from your mission, then the selling part doesn't feel slimy. You are offering something that can help someone else. It feels like you're serving your audience instead of selling to your audience. You're not pushing them. You're inviting them into a transformation that you truly believe in. And if it's something that they need or want, then yes, they should pay you for it. You're offering a product or a service in return for a transformation. But your message doesn't have to get lost in the middle, because the process of the transformation is going to be rooted back to your mission. And the best part is that when you're rooted in your message, your audience can feel it, and they trust you. And that's what leads them to long-term loyalty. All right, now it's time to start to craft this for yourself. So we're going to work on our micro challenge here. I have some tricky questions for you that I want you to think about and sit with for a little bit. Answer these questions for yourself. Number 1 is, what do you truly believe about your industry? Number 2, what do you want your audience to believe about themselves? And number 3, what change do you want to create in the world? I'm going to repeat those for you. What do you truly believe about your industry? What do you want your audience to believe about themselves? And what change do you want to create in the world? Attach those 3 things together, those answers, attach them together, and then craft a single clear sentence that sums it all up. Something that is simple and easy to repeat. What do you feel about your industry? How do you want your audience to believe in themselves? And what change are you going to make in the world? Put that into one simple sentence. Once you have it, put it somewhere where you can see it, on your wall, on a sticky note, on your phone, and then start weaving it into every bit of content that you create. You can do this. I believe in you. It's going to take a little bit of time for you to outline your own mission in your heart and what direction you want to go. Don't forget to think about your audience and the transformation you want them to go through. And then once they've gone through that transformation, that answers the question of how you're creating something in the world. That's how you're changing the world, is by this transformation that's helping other people. So give a little bit of time to that micro challenge. What you're going to end up with is one sentence that's going to be your mantra. It's going to be why you do what you do every day. Okay, a few final thoughts. Remember, your microphone is so much more than a microphone. It's your platform. It's your amplifier. It's your chance to stand for something bigger than just a product or a service. When you're clear on your message, you're not just another voice in the crowd. You're a leader, a signal, and a brand that people remember. So don't be afraid to plant your own flag, to say, this is what I stand for. This is what my work is all about. That's how you build a mission-driven business that lasts. So remember, your mic is hot. What will your message be? And just in case, if you have interest in becoming a voice artist, please check out my free mini course, Intro to Voiceovers. You'll find a link to it in the show notes. It's a Q&A session that should help answer all those questions you have going on in your head, wondering how you could make it happen. So find the show notes, check out the link for the free mini course, Intro to Voiceover. Thanks for tuning in to Your Mic is Hot. If today's episode got you thinking, dreaming, or planning, share it with a friend, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Remember, your mic is hot. The world's waiting. Speak up, stand out, and build something that fits your life.